Hey, family, and happy Tuesday. Welcome to Excellence in Everything Live, where we talk about all things on building confidence, competence, and competitive edge for those we love, lead, and teach. And I'm excited to join you every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. For those of you who have never met me, my name is Linnita Hosten, and I empower high school students to stand on their own 2 feet after graduation. And the goal is that they would be competent, competitive, and confident as they pursue their dream careers and ultimately make you proud. And make you proud. I'm excited to be here tonight. If you are watching live, you can go ahead and type in the chat. I am here. Let us know that you are here live in the flesh. And if you are catching the replay, you can type in hashtag replay. So for today's topic, 3 powerful traits of effective mentorship. I want to talk about this. I'm gonna give you a backstory as to why I chose this topic this week right after today's intro. You are excellence. Your mind is of excellence. Your visions are of excellence. Your unique superpower is nothing short of excellence. You amplify a voice of excellence. Your contribution to this world will be of excellence. You will achieve your highest goals and desires with excellence. You are capable of excellence. You have an inner power of excellence. You will achieve excellence in everything, every time. So, today's topic, 3 powerful traits of effective mentorship. If you know me personally, you know that I'm very adamant. Hey, Orlando, I'm very adamant about doing everything at the best level of excellence that it can be. And I chose the words powerful and effective for that reason. And, you know, let me just give you some backstory. I have, I've never been mentored sustainably by a woman. I want to put that out there. It's always been a man that has mentored me from school age until adult life, for career, for business. It's always been a man. It has never been a woman. The one instance where I was a woman offered, I didn't approach her, but she offered to take me under her wing. She asked me to help with something specific. I was helping out her organization. And one of the things I quickly learned is that sometimes we use the word mentorship to kind of, how do I put this? We use it as a form of getting access to people and their talents, and or like access to human capital. And I wanted to talk about effective mentorship today because, my goal is to mold young men and young women to be exceptional, that they would be, when someone sees them, their level of talent and skill ability would be infectious. An organization would be very drawn to them. That's my job, to coach them to be that. So I know in doing so, they become assets to organizations, to people, and they can be misused, and or their talents and gifts can be misused for the growth of other people. So today I kind of wanted to define what effective mentorship looks like, because when you have an exceptional young man or young woman, they are privy or prone, I would say, to being utilized. And I do want to say this. I have been used in a lot of ways for my benefit that I've seen on the back end of things. I'll give you an example of this. I'm really active at my church. I've built a lot of business skills from serving in my church. I wouldn't put that in this category. I've also volunteered for a lot of nonprofit organizations and groups. And for some of them, I got to see it for what it was. And for some of them, I did feel misused. So if you are in the market for a new mentor, or if you are currently a mentor and you want to make an assessment of if the relationship is effective and if it's deemed powerful, then tonight's episode is for you. Before I jump into the 3 things, I did want to say this. I do not offer mentor services. I do have several mentees, but I only offer coaching services. I coach students, and the distinction between the two is very different. A mentor is informal, it's unstructured, it's very personal, and it could be for the long haul. A coach is specific, it's linear, it has a very intended, clear purpose. and it is not for the long haul. It is a short-term relationship. And so I don't offer mentorship services. I only offer coaching services. However, I do serve as a mentor to a lot of young men and women. I'm really proud about those relationships. Okay, so the 3 character traits, let's just jump in there. I want to talk about this first one. Hey, Deaconess Moses, this first one. Establish commitment. Like, effective mentorship has an established commitment, meaning you all have a verbal agreement about why you're meeting, when you're meeting, what that looks like. It doesn't have to be frequently, but there's both people agree to say, I value this relationship. And if you on the other side of this camera, if you've ever been in any relationship where it was one-sided, you know what that feels like. It feels like a pull and tug. It feels like maybe you have a greater value or appreciation for the relationship than the other person does, and that doesn't feel good. You often feel like, you have to like question, am I doing too much? Am I not doing enough? So an established commitment, you have a good mentor when they keep their word. You have a good mentor when they absolutely desire to like check in with you to see how you are, how you're doing and are progressing. You have a good mentor when they offer you counsel and follow up on what they shared with you. And I'll take it a step further. You got a good mentor if they have told you and or have prayed with you. There's like a level of like a spiritual connection and or like not commitment, but like love that they have for you. It's a very like it's not a surface relationship. I feel effective mentorship is not surface. And so established commitment, I think, and Tab says that's a solid one. It is definitely like, that's a big deal. And I don't know about you, but I don't want nobody halfway doing anything with me. I don't want nothing halfway. So that's the first trait. I feel like the second trait of being having an effective mentorship is that it's an emotionally safe relationship. It's a place where you can come and you don't feel judged. You have absolutely no reason to withhold. None. Even if you were wrong, you feel like the person hears you, even if they disagree. And I want to flip this. If you're a mentor on the opposite side, that means you've invested in learning language that creates a comfortable space for whom you're mentoring. So you could be opinionated. You can be a powerhouse. You could be, I tell it like it is. You can do that. But what creates an emotional safe space is how you convey like the level of firmness or certainty that you have for something, and still keep the person's feelings in mind or them receiving it in mind. So an emotional safe space to me looks like you are the first person that the person wants to contact when they're in a moment or having or experiencing a moment of failure. Not because they're dependent on what you will say, but because you've created such a safe atmosphere that they desire, like they know that's a place of love that they can come and receive from. So they like, I want to hear from them. I want to hear what they would have to say. I want them to come because I know they'll pray for me. I know I'll be encouraged. And I have one of my mentors, and when I was thinking about today's content, it dawned on me that I don't have as many mentors as I've labeled. There aren't that many. This is very few. There's very few, but there's one in particular. You all have seen me post about this particular individual. Super supportive. This was my first mentor. I met Mr. Jones in 8th grade. At the time, I was like being bullied in school. I still have a big nose and a big forehead. I was being bullied for those things, and I joined like this group called Girl Talk that he was like leading, and we would meet and talk about self-esteem and what it meant to be like firm in identity. And I didn't know this at the time, but he was really giving us the word for real. Like we had scriptures and I didn't even know. But we never taught. It was not a faith-based thing, but it was definitely faith all up in that. That's not like something I would do, by the way. But I never felt like, even with our gender differences, I never felt like there was things that I could not say. to Mr. Jones. Even now, we're still like, he's a super big component of my work today. He has sponsored several copies of The Pursuit of Black Excellence, and you've probably seen it all up and down my timeline of his colleagues who are buying the books and or supporting them. But there is no conversation off the table when we meet. We had lunch last month and we talked about dating and marriage. And he asked me, and I can say this with y'all because I know y'all ain't gonna tell nobody, but he asked me, do you feel like at the level of business that you're in and that you are asking for God to see you to, do you feel like you can commit to a committed relationship? He was like, just be honest. And that was a hard question. And so I was like, oh, I got to think about that. But I didn't feel like I couldn't be honest or I couldn't be myself. And if I don't know, I can tell him that. Definitely a great example of being emotionally safe. So that's the second characteristic about effective and powerful mentorship relationships. And again, if you are a mentor, I want you to think about these traits as areas that you can potentially look to develop. But if you are a mentee or seeking a mentor, these are the kind of attributes that I want you to be looking to see if a person displays. And here's the last one: equal sacrifice. You sacrifice something when you give away your time. Something is not priority. And this is why time is such it's something that I value. I'm not meeting with you. I'm not reaching out to you. I'm not doing anything that creates like a time leech. I do not like time leeches. So when I agree if you have my yes that I'm coming to do something, that means I had to sacrifice something else. And when I coach my students, I tell them this all the time. When you show up to our calls, I know you had to sacrifice this whole 60 minutes that we have together. You're sacrificing something. And my way of saying I appreciate that is coming prepared. Like, not to waste your time, get straight to the point, to be listening, to be present, to be rested. And so they're sacrificing when they come, and I'm sacrificing when I show up. It's the same thing for mentor-mentee relationships. There should be equal sacrifice. Someone told me, it may not be equal giving, but the sacrifice should be mutual. And again, no one wants to be in a one-dimensional relationship. So you might sacrifice, okay, I can't go hang out with the girls tonight, or I can't go, I don't know, let's say I can't come to the other branch because I'm going to meet. You're going to sacrifice stuff. But it has to be equal. Tab, what are some other ones? Tab said yes. What are some other qualities? Because Tab actually leads a girls mentoring group. What are some other qualities that you feel are like effective or effective traits of powerful mentorship? I would love to hear your suggestions or any ones you'd like to add. So those are the 3 traits. I want you to, if you are a mentor, I want you to be looking to kind of self-evaluate. Do I create an emotional safe space? Am I like honoring the commitment that I have? And am I contributing? Like, I sacrifice something. Am I equally contributing to the relationship? And I'm going to check my mentee when I get off this live tonight, because sis is definitely not equally sacrificing right now. She has she picked up a new sport. She's a junior in high school. She picked up a new sport. And so we normally meet on Mondays. And she ain't been showing up. So I'm going to have to call her out. I'm going to send her this, and then I'm going to say, sis, what we doing? Like, come on. I value the time that we have together, and I don't get to see you. I be feeling some kind of way. Okay, Tab said you hit some good ones. Listening to understand and support, not just to respond. Yes. And I teach on that all the time. Our job is really not to, half the time they ain't looking for a response. They be knowing the answer for real. I feel like they really do be looking for someone to listen. Not many adults are listening because we are as a form of protection, looking to teach. As they're talking, we're looking to teach or imply or input our opinions or our counsel. Nothing wrong with that if you listened first. And sometimes listening means that you actually have a delay in response because you actually have to process what was shared with you. I don't know about you. I feel like I'm a pretty fluid conversationalist, but I do have to stop and think about what you shared with me before I respond. At least to provide a response that I feel like is going to be valuable. Tab also said, and checking in with them. Oh my goodness, yes. They will never admit this, but when you just check in and say, "Hey, I want to see how you doing," when you show up, oh, this is so good. Okay, so last weekend, I hosted a girls and women's mentoring summit. It was my job to just like keep the energy going for the day and to oversee the panel discussion. And while we were doing the panel, I just turned to the audience and I said, what questions do you all have for the panelists instead of just keep talking and making up questions. And the questions that these girls had me, they were 12, 13, 14. One of the girls said, "How do I get my mom to listen to me instead of always," what word did she use? Instead of always, uh, um, what word did she use? Instead of always, she didn't say nagging, something to the effect of like giving her opinion. Like, I have an opinion. I want my mom to hear out my opinion, but sometimes I feel like she's not listening to even hear my opinion. That was she had to be maybe 12. And so one of the things I told her was, I think you should just say that. Mom, can you hear me out? Before you respond, I just want you to kind of hear me out. Just basic skills, basic communication, one-on-one communication. It was such a powerful moment for not only the parents in the room, but also the teens, because a lot of them have similar concerns. Similar concerns. Tab says, checking in, but I was also co-signing on the checking them part. Holding them accountable when they aren't equally sacrificing. So important. I'm definitely going to call Clark today. As soon as I get off this live, that's my mentor's name. My mentee's name. I'm going to call her today. And then, you know what I'm also going to do? And I would challenge you to do if you have a mentor. Why don't you check in with them and ask them, do you feel like I equally sacrifice in this relationship? Do you feel like I contribute to this space being emotionally safe? And do you feel like I've honored the commitment of our mentor mentee relationship? It might be a good idea to flip the tables and ask them to see how you might be showing up in a relationship too. That's not a bad idea. I might try some myself. So those are the three character traits I want you to look for in effective mentorship, whether you're looking for a mentor, if you have a mentor, or if you want to evaluate the current mentor-mentee relationship that you currently have. And again, I wanted to talk about this specifically for this time period because we are coming to the end of Q1 of the year. And perhaps one of the goals that you have, you can't do alone. And maybe you do need a mentor, someone who you can walk closely with, confide in, trust, and kind of counsel you along the way. And if so, these are some character traits that I would encourage you to look for when you are considering those kinds of new relationships and commitments, because it is a commitment. It is. This is my only announcement for today, but y'all, this Saturday is the official Black Tea Summit. I cannot believe this is coming to fruition in like it's 3 days away. It's 3 days away. I'm equally excited as I am nervous, if I could just be honest. While I have received tremendous amounts of support that I did not ask for. I was planning to ask, but I didn't even have to ask. And I just wanted to publicly say thank you, God, because if you've ever planned an event, you know how tedious and time consuming and expensive it can be. It really does take help from other areas, even human capital, like foot and hands, feet, like to be accessible. And I really didn't have to pull or tug at any of those things. And so I'm just really grateful. Like, God really availed himself on this project. I'm excited about what's going to happen in the room. I'm excited about the parents who say, yes, I really want my kid to be in that room. And the organizational leaders who are sponsoring tickets for children to attend. And I didn't mention this. Hey, Dwayne. I didn't mention this, but we're actually partnering with the Department of Human services for the state of Maryland and another nonprofit called Concern for Kids. And we have 20 foster kids who've been sponsored to come. And I'm excited about that too. And y'all know I can't get them in the room and not teach, okay? So I'm doing 2 separate, very short mini master classes. And I'm really excited about that too. And they're all just centered around the content and the pursuit of Black excellence for teens. So I'm really excited and looking forward to the summit. And we do have a media team who will be there, so y'all know y'all gonna get some footage. So for those of you who are not able to attend, but you want to be nosy, you want to see like what you gonna be doing over there, don't worry, you gonna get the visuals and you're gonna get the tea. So we will have that up at least before April. So I'm excited about that. And thank you. If you share the flyer, if you share any of my emails, any content online related to the summit or the pursuit of Black excellence for teens, I just want to say thank you. I'm very appreciative, and I genuinely mean that. That's all I got for tonight. 3 powerful traits that you should look for in effective mentorship. If you caught the tail end of this, I encourage you to rewind and go back to the end. And if you were just joining, like, let me know that you was here. Don't be a creep now. But I'm thankful that you decided to join me, and I will see you next Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love you. Good night. You are excellence. Your mind is of excellence. Your visions are of excellence. Your unique superpower is nothing short of excellence.